to Alaskan Homemaker. I'm Mary. It's morning, it's 8 o'clock in the morning, but I'm gonna get some soup going for lunch today. It's called cracked chicken noodle soup. I know it's a funny name. I think any kind of recipe that's got ranch dressing in it they call it cracked chicken dip, cracked chicken noodle soup. So this recipe is really delicious. So we're gonna get started. I always like to cut my own whole chickens, and then when they're raw, if they're cooked, you can get all the meat off, but when they're raw, you can't get all the meat off. So there's some meat left over. So I just stick the carcasses in a bag and make soup with them. So that's what I'm gonna do today. I've got a couple of chicken carcasses here, and then it'll make our chicken broth, and it has extra chicken on here too for our recipe. So they're frozen right now. So I'm gonna get that in my pot, and then I'm gonna just pour a lot of water in here for this chicken. And then I'm gonna turn this on high heat and get that going for our soup. And I'll bring you back for the next step. The chicken's been boiling for an hour, so I'm going to get it out so I can take all the meat off the bones. Okay, I'm gonna let this chicken cool down, and then once it's cool, I'm gonna debone it. I'll bring you back for the next step. I'm gonna go ahead and get this broth strained through this fine strainer. I'm gonna put the strained broth back into the clean pot. I like this orzo pasta for this recipe. It's really tiny pasta and it goes good in the soup. So I'm gonna get a half a cup of the tiny pasta. So we're gonna get that into our pot. Give it a stir. The chicken has been deboned. You can also use a rotisserie chicken for this soup, or leftover chicken, and just use some chicken broth that you have, or store-bought chicken broth. Sometimes I use the rotisserie chicken, it's really convenient, or some leftover chicken. So we're gonna go ahead and get this chicken back into our broth. We're gonna give this a stir. Here's some beautiful celery from my garden. The stalks aren't huge or anything, but it's gonna be delicious. And here, I'm gonna use the leaves and the stalks. And I've got a couple carrots here too that have been peeled and washed. And we're gonna get that into our delicious soup. I'm gonna cut these little ends off. We're gonna get that into our pot. It already smells really good. Homemade soup is so delicious. I'm gonna julienne these carrots. I like the look of julienne carrots, so I like to julienne them a lot for recipes. Give that a stir. We're gonna add some salt and pepper. It's it's already looking delicious. Those beautiful colors. I'm going to put 2 teaspoons of salt right now and a teaspoon of pepper. And then we'll just adjust the seasoning if we need to. Looks so good. It smells delicious too. The little orso pasta likes to stick to the bottom of the pot, so I give it a stir every now and then so that it won't stick. We're gonna make a roux for our soup. I've got 4 tablespoons of butter here, and I'm gonna get this on a medium heat. This was in the freezer, so it'll take a little while to thaw out. Our noodles are done, so we're gonna put the rest of the soup ingredients together. The original recipe calls for cream of chicken soup, but all the cream of chicken, cream of celery, cream of mushroom, cream of chicken are all just basically a roux. So that's what I'm making, a homemade version of the cream of chicken soup. I'll link the original recipe in the description box below. All of our flour's been absorbed, so I'm going to go ahead and get 1 cup of milk into here. I'm going to get a block of cream cheese in here also. When you're making the cream of chicken or cream of mushroom or cream of celery from scratch, you can add celery, mushrooms, chicken broth. But since we've already got chicken and chicken broth and celery in our soup, I'm not going to worry about that part. I'm just going to do the base. I'm going to get this on a low heat now. I have some buttermilk ranch dressing powder mix from Azure Standard, and I'm going to get 2 tablespoons of that in here. You can use any kind of ranch powder that you have on hand. And I'm also going to add some dill. I think 1 teaspoon of dill. That is not in the original recipe, but I really like it. It is delicious. I'm going to add 1 more teaspoon of salt in here. That's really good. Now we're just going to let this simmer, and hopefully those cream cheese lumps will dissolve into this broth nicely. It should. And we're just going to keep that on low simmer and give it a stir every now and then. And then I'll bring you back. Our delicious cracked chicken noodle soup is done. We're going to give it a taste. It's so delicious. I hope y'all love this recipe. Thank you for hanging out with me today. I hope you have a blessed day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.